For staying tuned to this channel, and if you like the content. Hi guys, welcome back. This is another session where we'll be talking about something called as Google tracking templates, and this is a very interesting conversation to me because all of us started at some point in time with the thought that AdWords is just used to get as many clicks as possible, and this is one hell of an advertising platform where people search for your keywords, your ad shows up, people click on your ads, they come to your website, there ends the matter. Now, the reason I find this very interesting, what I'm going to talk about now, which is tracking templates, is because the buck does not stop there and things do not come to an end just because somebody has clicked on your ad and they've come to your website. If you ask me, the actual process begins there. What do I mean by that? What do I mean by that is, it doesn't just suffice or it just isn't enough for you to understand that somebody has clicked on your ad and has come to your website. Now you need to understand which is the campaign that drove this person to you, which ad group is responsible for you for this person to come to your website. Now what keyword did he search upon, and when he searched for that keyword, what ad got triggered. Now would you think that these parameters would really help you? Now that is exactly what tracking templates talk about, and it just does not end there. It helps you also to understand what keyword triggered it, and you can also track certain values like what is the exact keyword. You can also figure out what the match type of the keyword was that triggered the ad. You could also look at the ad ID. You could also look at the ad group ID, and that is exactly what we are talking about. And just in case you did not know, there is something called as parallel tracking that Google has introduced in the new AdWords interface, and it is an optional setting at this point in time, which means you could use it if you want it at this point in time. It's available, but in case you have not used it, and from October 2018, it's going to be a mandatory setting for everybody, where all of us would be having to use that parallel tracking setting, which in one line means when a person clicked on your ad, it goes to the tracking server first, and then it gets routed to your website. Now, what parallel tracking does is there are two things which are happening parallelly or simultaneously. The moment somebody clicks on your ad, he's just going to your website, and the calculation of the clicks or the click tracking is happening in the background. Now, that is exactly what parallel tracking means, and more often than not, parallel tracking and tracking templates go hand in hand. Now, in the next few minutes, I'm going to show you how do you set up a tracking template and how do you fetch various parameters like what keyword the user searched for, what match type where did a particular click come from, who is responsible for it, which campaign is responsible for it, which ad got triggered, and which keyword got triggered. And I'm pretty sure you would love this conversation and the process of me showing you how this is done on your AdWords account. And please understand that the parallel tracking works only in the AdWords new interface. It is not available in the previous old experience. Thank you so much for staying tuned to this channel, and if you like the content that you hear and you understand, just please subscribe to this channel and please hit on the subscribe option right now, and stay tuned in the next couple of minutes. I will be showing you how to set up a tracking template. Thank you so much, guys. Hello guys, as I've told you that I would be showing you how to do the tracking template exercise for your existing campaigns. Now in that process, you would have to understand something called as the default tracking template that Google AdWords provides with all the advertisers with. Now this is a flower bracket LP URL, which is your landing page URL, and you append it with parameters like UTM medium, which is your AdWords, UTM campaign, which is going to be the name of the campaign, and the UTM source is going to be your ad group with an underscore. Now you don't have to think too much about these templates because this is by default made available to all the advertisers by the Google template, and you can find it in the AdWords Help Center. Now there are certain things like these parameters which are called as either value parameters or tracking parameters that you have. Now as I said, you don't have to sweat out these things. These are readily available for all the advertisers in the AdWords Help Center. Now if you quickly want to understand how the AdWords Help Center can be accessed, just say AdWords Help Center in your browser, and you would click on that, and you would search for something called as tracking templates. Just say tracking template, Now this is where you would find your parameters, right? Now this is the LP URL, LP URL, a question mark, and this is another parameter called the match type, and device equal to. So these are different parameters. Now if you want to look at all the different parameters, you can just say value track parameters. Now these are all the different value tracking parameters that you would have: match type, and right, and you could access all these value parameters, and using those I've hard coded a tracking template. Now let me name it as the tracking template, right? Now LP URL question mark. Now what I'm simply supposed to do is copy this tracking template that I have, go to your AdWords account. Now by default, when you go to your AdWords account, you would be here in your all campaigns. Now I want to go to my settings. I would want to go to the account settings, and under the tracking template I would just paste the tracking template that I have. Now quickly see if there are any errors. There should not be any spelling mistakes. Now UTM campaign equal to campaign, UTM source equal to ad group. Now please understand that at this point in time I have only included the parameters like campaigns and ad groups, and I would simply say test. Now when it tests the template that I have, if you observe, it runs a quick check across all the URLs that I've put up in my account, and I think it checks about 10 of them. It says 10 here. Now if you have less than 10, it will check all of them. Now it's quickly finding if there is a landing page available like that, and it quickly runs a check through that. And when you mouse over on this parameter, it says the tracking template in the first. This is the tracking template that you have given. Now this is the final URL that you have, which is your exact landing page. And if you observe here, the attributes that you have used the attributes, but Google tried to identify your ad group and campaign, which are empty because it is not yet in place. I have not yet saved it, and it is not running in real time. So now if you look at these, which is your LP URL, which is the landing page URL, which is this, it is automatically fetched. Now since it is tested, I would just test it once again just to show you how things work. It will check all these things. Now let's see what happens if I click on these URLs. So let me quickly click on that. Let's say I click on this URL, it takes me to that URL, and this is where you would see the parameters appended, which is UTM medium equal to AdWords, UTM campaign equal to empty, a live search from a live campaign, and UTM source has to be AdWords, and it is empty. Now I will also make you understand. Now this is done. Let me close it. Let me save it. Now I have saved my tracking template as it is right now. Now what you have to understand at this point in time is all the tracking templates that you have set up. Now you can access these attributes or parameters at the account level. What we have done now is the account level, and you can also do it at the campaign level, and you can also do it at the ad group level. Right? Now let me show you how you do it at the campaign level and the ad group level. Since we are done with creating a tracking template and testing it where it worked, now when we also saw that when we clicked on the tracking URL or the tracking template or the click URL, it just took us to the website, but all the parameters were empty because we have not tagged any of them. Now let me quickly show you what happens if you want to track which campaign did the clicks come from. So let me quickly show you that. So you quickly go to campaign settings. Now pick up any two campaigns that you like, or all of the campaigns, because I am currently dealing with these two campaigns. So I would look at any of these particular campaigns, and I would want to see if there are some set columns that I'm looking for, and I'm not able to see those columns. So I go here and I'll say modify columns, and yes, these are the ones that I'm looking for. I'm looking for tracking template, and I'm looking for setting custom parameters. Now let's say apply. Once that is done, I come to my campaign. So you go to your settings of the campaign. Let's do it again. So let's go to your campaign settings, and we have done it for a campaign called display ads and items. So there you see. So these are empty. So what I would be doing at this point in time is you cannot set anything in the tracking template because you already have set the template at the account level. Let me click on this, and this is the parameter where I set. Now I want to track which campaign did the click come from. So it says campaign, and the value would be the name of the campaign, which is Digital Titans. Sorry, Display Ads Titans. So I'm going to say Display Ads Titans, and let me save this. Now we would have to go back to your account settings, say tracking, so test it again. Now I have done it for these two campaigns, so let's see what happens once the testing is done. Perfect. Now since I found the landing page, so let me click on the URL. When I go to the landing page with the new URL that's tagged, now UTM medium is AdWords, and there you go. You see the name of the campaign, which is Display Ads Titans. Now this is exactly how you would come to know when a particular URL gets you a particular click, and you can track which campaign this is coming from. Now you can also do it for your ad groups and also at the ad level, and that would be another discussion for another day when we talk about value parameters. And in the video that we saw earlier, that we also mentioned something about parallel tracking. Now this is exactly where you would enable parallel tracking. And when you say parallel tracking, now you would also want to consider turning on the auto tagging, as many tracking systems will require this. You would come here and you would say enable the auto tagging, and that's done. So you have set up your parallel tracking, and you've also set up your tracking template. If you want to understand what parallel tracking is a little clearly, now there is one image that I would want to show from the help center, and which is probably the perfect way of explaining it. Now if you look at this image here, when your ad is being clicked, now look at this again. When your ad is being clicked, there are two activities which are simultaneously happening here: final URL and URL tracking. The user first goes to the final URL, but the click activity and the click measurement is happening in the background, so that this speeds up the process of your page loading, and this means that the users do not have to wait for a long time waiting for your page to load. Now this also results in a better user experience, and it also prevents users from leaving the ad or abandoning the website because it is not opening on time or anything of that sort. Now I hope this session was helpful, and in the coming days or in the days to come, these settings called tracking parameters and value parameters and parallel tracking is going to be one of the most utilized features, because e-commerce is on the rise, and you would want to click on how many products was being clicked, how many times, and which campaign did it come from, and things like that. That's it from me, guys. Hope you enjoyed this, and if you have any questions, you know what to do. You can always write back to us or write to us on and if you like the content that you see, please do not hesitate to click on the subscribe link or the icon that you see, and this will help us to come up with much more ideas like this. If you have any suggestions, ideas, please comment below, and thank you so much for your time. Cheers.